Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Baron here. So the hype train is still going on, or should we call it the hype cruise ship? I don't know. It's ridiculous. War Thunder ships on the ever soonish horizon here. We've got Project 1124. We already saw it in the previews just a little bit, and we saw it in a dev blog posting like with regards to these are the ships that are coming out, but now we have a little more information on it. This is Project 1124, the Armored Riverboat. Furthermore, we're going to talk about why smaller ships are a very, very good choice, and why that anyone who thinks that realistic gameplay with capital ships is a great idea might be not familiar with how long that would take. And these are going to be coming from two really good, really well thought out, really well written War Thunder subreddit posts. If you're not involved on the War Thunder subreddit and you're not involved on live.War Thunder, you probably should be, because that is a really, really good source of information. So, to Project 1124. So this is meet the Soviet pioneer of naval battles in War Thunder, the Project 1124 armored riverboat with a rear-mounted Katyusha multiple rocket launcher. With her interesting history and unique gameplay, this ship is sure to find her tovarishes among War Thunder players. So basically, if you get a giant boat, put a T-34 turret on it, and a Katyusha multiple rocket launcher on the back of it, plus you throw in two heavy machine guns, in a interesting little turret, you're gonna have Project 1124. So the large Project 1124 armored riverboat was developed in 1933 and 1934 for a wide range of battlefield tasks in river waterways, mostly the Amur River, from where it received its unofficial nickname, the Amurian. And in spite of its simple design and very uncomfortable crew quarters, this gunboat boasted leading developments in the Soviet industry for that time. Which may not be saying too much, but hey, that's just my 2 cents. Shipbuilders confirmed that the design for a small but well-defended boat with a draft of just 70 centimeters, Soviet aviation builders gave the boat her heart. 2 aircraft engines from the TB-3 and MBR-2 bombers. Soviet gunsmiths gave the Amurian boat the latest weaponry. Turrets from the famous T-34 tank with a 76mm cannon, twin high-caliber DSHK machine guns, and even the legendary Katyusha multiple rocket launcher system. So as you can see from the pictures and from the little bit of gameplay that we have, this boat is really kind of crazy. I never really thought there was something like this when I thought of War Thunder ships, but I guess that's one of the exciting parts about it. The Series 1124 boats carved out a colorful history in battle. The Battle of Stalingrad, Western Europe, Manchuria. These riverborne tanks provided support to infantry from the water, landed troops to the enemy flank or rear, were the first to break into the waterways of European cities, destroying enemy fortifications with their cannons and rockets. So the version of the boat in War Thunder with her Katyusha multiple rocket launcher system is a true monster in the hands of an able captain. The T-34 turret located in the bow of the boat provides a means to fire precisely at any vehicle's most vital modules and compartments, even from a great distance. 2 12.7mm machine guns allow the gunboat to efficiently eliminate crews on enemy ships and low-flying aircraft, but the main destructive power of Project 1124 lies in her M13 M1 unguided rocket launchers, the legendary Katyusha, capable of raining down death and destruction with a single volley of 16 rockets, dealing simply catastrophic damage to enemy vehicles on the water and ground alike, and maybe even a few big planes that are flying a little low. When you do that, please submit it to my top 5 series. In Gaijin's game, the Project 1124 armored riverboat armed with the Katyushas, which they've wanted to point out very clearly many times now, is available for pre-order in the online store. Furthermore, it gets you access to the closed beta test, which is, quote, happening later this year. So, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit more information on Project 1124. So now I'm going to be going over an article, because there's a lot of controversy and debate, and rightfully so, for War Thunder ships. Now, this article, which I'm going to link in the video description, was written by Bassau. And in the name of this article, the title of it is Why Gunboats Are the Perfect Choice. Now, keep in mind, this is conjecture and personal opinion. Parts of it are very, very well put out, right? So he did a pros and cons list, but he opened it up with this, and by the way, this is his opinion. You will never see player-controlled ships above smallish destroyers, no matter what Gaijin now says to pacify the unruly masses, and this is why. Now, do we know that's sure? No, but is there a decent argument behind it? We'll find out. So, ships are strategic, gunboats are tactical. Gunboats are roughly equal to tanks and planes in terms of firepower. Gunboats exist in the same scale in terms of movement and engage as tanks and planes. Gunboat tech scales roughly the same as tanks and planes, up to and including the Vietnam era, which the United States, I'm going to throw this in, this is not part of the article, the United States extensively used gunboats and riverboats during the Vietnam War. There is a lot of tech just from the Vietnam War, and since we're getting guided missiles and stuff like that, and we're getting into that era with the tanks we have and some of the planes we have, it's more than likely that we will get Vietnam era, as we already have a few right now. So, now, gunboats can actually move up shallow waters and rivers, making mixed-type gameplay a possibility. So that kind of ended his points on ships are strategic and gunboats are tactical, specifically alluding to how gunboats are tactical. But so imagine that. If you have a giant battleship, you're going to be firing at, like, say if you ever wanted to engage in, like, a planes, tanks, and ships battles, you'd be firing at a speck of an island, firing at coordinates that people would give you from multiple miles or kilometers away. You'd never see the tanks. Now, with a gunboat, you'd get up close and personal. The idea of killing an enemy tank or a couple tanks with your Katyushas from this Project 1124 are very real and going to happen. It's going to happen. It's simply going to happen. It's not necessarily a possibility. There will be people that will be killing tanks with Katyushas from this damn boat. That's kind of exciting for me. The gameplay is going to be faster and more aggressive. That was kind of my 2 cents. Now let's get back to Bassau's article. Realistic ship gameplay is incompatible, and he's got 3 bullet points for it. Ship gameplay would be like a bomber's, all automated stations, but 100 times slower. Planes and ships really don't match in terms of gameplay. Either you get down in a cloud of automated AA, or you land the torpedo and the other player sinks. Neither has much to do with skill or fun. I mean, that's definitely subjective, because threading through incoming flak fire and landing that magical torpedo that hits, that just snaps the ship in half, that would be pretty cool. But how often would that happen, right? Is that the common gameplay element? Is that what you would normally expect to experience? So now going on to Bassau's 3rd bullet point. It's easy to imagine 16 mixed-type gunboats in a single map. 16 ships in a realistic map would be a day-long battle. I think there is a decent amount of player base. This is my 2 cents now. I think there's a decent player base out there, but it's a very small minority of people who would actually have the time and put forth the time to experience the very slow and ultra-realistic style capital ship versus capital ship firing over the horizon. So, I mean, you really got to think about, like, how fun is it? World of Warships is a really, really good example. That is a very, very unrealistic game. It's very unrealistic. They don't try to be realistic. They use realistic armaments, but they cater the game in a certain way. You don't control secondaries. You don't control flak, and the aircraft are not player controlled. So there's a lot of things. Plus the ships move, 5 to 10 times faster in certain cases? I'm not entirely sure. But that's another argument and another discussion we could get into, as I have a lot of experience in World of Warships, and I do find the game fun. But would it work with War Thunder? Who knows? Is it possible to make a ship simulator? Probably. Would it be commercially viable without gaming the experience? Doubtful. Would it mix with the existing vehicles in War Thunder? According to Bassau, absolutely not. So Bassau is basically saying, I think Gaijin made a terrific choice, and I'm looking forward to torpedoing your carriers. Yep. So that is a decent article. And now what's further interesting, if you want to check out that article, there's a lot of supporting arguments and counter arguments, which are rather compelling and very well thought out and well written in that article, so I highly encourage you to check it out. So here's another article written by Spartan448, and it is titled, "Everyone who thinks realism is a cop-out for capital ship naval battles needs to go and look at some naval history." And guess what? You don't necessarily need to do it because he did it for you. So he's going to take note of some more notable exceptions. Bismarck versus Prince of Wales. So at 5:52, Hood opens fire. 6:10, Prince of Wales breaks off. Battle lasted 18 minutes with only minor damage to Bismarck and minimal damage to Prince of Wales from shell fire, which is the only damage that matters for this case, as War Thunder historically does not model mechanical issues, which is why people play tanks at all. Think about that. German like unreliability of tanks is not, in War Thunder. Bismarck versus Tovey Task Force, 8:47. Rodney opens fire. 10:45, Bismarck capsizes. A 2-hour-long battle, though this was likely exacerbated by the fact that the water Bismarck had taken on from its previous engagement left its armored belt sitting far enough below the waterline that at close range the British guns could not depress far enough to actually strike it. That left one ship sunk and another 4 almost completely undamaged. So he's got a few more, but basically it's pointing out that even in these short engagements, not a whole lot happened. Capital ships battles, in terms of realistic play, would be incredibly boring. It would almost be, this is going to sound ridiculous, in a much simplified example, it would be like playing that old board game Battleship. You fire at a grid. You either hit the enemy or you don't, and you get information back if you hit or not. Then you adjust and fire again. One cool possibility, if you were to ever go down an ultra-realistic, War Thunder ships with capital ships, would be the fact that your spotter planes could be your friends who are spotting it out for you, which could make for some interesting gameplay. So now we've got Scharnhorst versus Fraser's Task Force. 16:48. Belfast fires star shells. Duke of York commences firing. 19:45. Scharnhorst capsizes and sinks. A 3-hour battle mostly dragged out by Scharnhorst's attempts to pull away. And that's only from when Duke of York got into the action. So another pretty well written article showing what naval battles, looked like historically. Tank battles, we've got that stuff. That stuff's hot, heavy, and fast. Dogfights, aerial dogfights, that stuff is hot, heavy, and fast. That is what War Thunder is. Hot, heavy, realistic, and fast. So I think a lot of people are a little upset that they may not get to play that ship that they love and read a lot about in history, but it's not like, oh man, I've read so much about the Tiger tank, I can't wait to take that out. It's not exactly like that. You've got, a few crew members, one main gun, and a few machine guns. That's all you got to worry about. Not 1,000 crewmen, multiple gun systems. I mean, I think they should... Actually, you know what? I'm going to put this out there. Attach my name to it if you want. Here's an interesting game mode. I think that we could have a game mode where it's like a Leviathan or Kill the Beast. You put something in like a capital ship, a battleship, a cruiser, an aircraft carrier, something like that, and the different weapon systems are controlled much like gunners' stations are on bombers by a few players. Those players are attacked by maybe air, sea, and maybe even land if it would be fitting, right? But definitely air and sea, like a bunch of small torpedo boats, torpedo planes, fighters, bombers, stuff like that coming in. And it's almost like what? It would be almost like, a tower defense type game, or basically like you're getting overwhelmed and it's like, how many can you kill? That could be a fun weekend type game mode, but I think for me personally, that's one of the ways that I could really see them still being like, okay, we're only going to go the small ship route, but at least you could give us that taste of what it'd be like to defend the Yamato, right? Or the Bismarck against, superior Allied air power. That would be a lot of fun. I think that would be an interesting game mode. So I just wanted to put that stuff out there because obviously A lot of people are worried about, like, you know, the arguments. These are just some, but I think for the most part it's not necessarily relevant until we get into closed beta test. But I know that you guys really kind of want to discuss it right now because it is the hype train. It's the hype cruise ship going on right now for War Thunder ships. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, just a few different people and some well thought out arguments and discussion as to why you shouldn't be freaking out and why War Thunder small ships are actually going to be a lot of fun. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope this was somewhat educational and maybe got you thinking about that other side. Because you know what, there's definitely multiple sides and they all have their merits. But at the end of the day, I still think War Thunder ships is going to be a lot of fun. My name is Baron, I'm signing out.